Hello, and welcome to the National University of Singapore Ariba Network Supplier Training Micro Videos. This video will cover the credit memo process, should it ever be requested from NUS. Starting from the Ariba Network workbench, locate the Invoices widget. If this widget is not available, click on Customize to locate it. Click on the widget and locate the appropriate invoice that we will create the credit memo against. Click on the invoice number to enter the invoice document. Now, should NUS request a credit or a line item credit memo against an invoice for a particular transaction, from this invoice document, you'll have the option here to create line item credit memo. Let's give it a click. We're taken to a page very similar to the invoice creation page, except for it's to create a credit note. Again, we'll need to review the header and line item level and make sure we input appropriate information into the asterisk fields like the credit note or the credit memo date. You'll also notice that the subtotal and taxable amounts are negative because this is a credit memo. So we're actually crediting the invoice. Scrolling down, a lot of the options don't require any additional information. However, you'll notice that our additional Singapore specifics does flip the information from the invoice for us. And we also need to provide a comment or two as to the reasons behind the credit memo. For this example, I'm going to say that the invoiced item was damaged during shipment, so I'll put down a note that relates to that reason. Like our invoice, it's mandatory to add an attachment, so clicking Add to Header and clicking Attachments, we'll need to find the appropriate attachment as proof of the credit and add it to this credit memo note. Once our attachment has been added, we can scroll down to our line items section. Now, our unit price and subtotal are flipped from the purchase order, and you'll notice our quantity is in negative. We could edit the quantity if needed. However, because there's only one item here, we don't need to make any changes. So I can simply click on Next, allowing me to review the credit memo note. Reviewing the credit memo note, similar to our invoice document, I can see that I'm happy with the credit memo, so I'll simply submit it to NUS. I could print a copy of the credit memo if I would like to, or I could just exit the creation process. And our credit memo has now been completed. And once it has been updated by NUS, the credit memo note will appear in our History tab. With that, I'll click Done because we'll also be able to see the credit memo note from the Invoice section of the workbench. You'll notice the number of invoices has changed to 2, and our credit memo note is found here. That now concludes today's video on the credit memo process. Remember, this process is only needed should NUS ever request a credit note or a line item credit memo for a particular transaction. Thank you for watching.